Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is going to be the CBR number 3. And this is the category 3-4, the open category 3-4 race. It's my second time doing this race in the last couple weeks, or the second time this year. It's the only chance I get to race with some of the guys on my team, so I jump in. So you can see that's Josh right there, Josh Cagney. Josh has been having a good year, mainly in the 4-5, in the Cat 4 area and 4-5. But, he's dipping his foot into the 3-4 races as well. And I think he's looking to become a Cat 3 pretty soon. So he'll probably start doing this race a little bit more. I think he's done it pretty much every year, but I just started joining him. Usually we have Josh, Chris, and Nick in these races, and now I jumped in and joined them. Today we only have Josh, Chris, and myself. So yeah, it's going to be a 40-minute race. We're in on the Compton side, or the Compton Dominguez side. I think the address is Compton, but we call it the Dominguez side. And we're going counterclockwise. So you see the first two turns that we went, nothing special, just 90-degree turns, both downhill or slightly downhill. Turn 2 has a kind of weather groove. I don't know, like a drain across the road. So it's and it has some beat up surface there, so it's pretty bumpy going through there. Camera doesn't do it justice because of the stabilization. Turn 3 you just saw is pretty smooth. It's kind of a fast turn, and then leads to this little 3% kicker. Maybe it reaches, I think it's only 3%, maybe 3 to 4% kicker. But it's nothing special. If you hit it at speed, you can carry some good momentum. But it does tax your legs after a while. You see it just went a little bit over 3%. But it attacks your legs after a while. And it was it was against the wind also. So between turns 2 and 3, there was a stiff headwind. This is pretty early in the morning. This is the 8:30 race. So it was a pretty stiff headwinds between 2 and 3, and then kind of like a crosswind coming off the right between 3 and 4. So here's, it's pretty much downwind or wind at our back. So you can see it's stretched out pretty good. We're up over 30 miles per hour, slightly downhill. And, this is kind of the theme of our races out here in Southern California. Most of them are like this, fast 4-corner crits. This side has a little bit of, I don't know, like right now, I think there's a sewer main or whatever right there that has some kind of holes and beat up concrete around it. But they try to patch it up. It's just there's a lot of big rigs, as you can see from the industrial area. And then right here is where I'm talking about where it gets real bumpy. That entire road, I went to the inside that time just to make up a couple spots here. But yeah, that entire apex and across the road there is pretty beat up. No incidents there though. So yeah, sitting pretty good up here. I went into this race really with somewhat of a bad mindset. I was just using it to warm up, to be honest with you, and just kind of joining my guys in this race. So I wasn't really racing it. I was just using it to warm up kind of, and I haven't really been racing all year. Mindset wise, I've just been kind of out here going through the motions, and I'm okay with that. Honestly, I know a lot of other people are not okay with it. They're not even okay with me doing it, which it's kind of, I'm kind of 50-50 on it, because at some point I don't care, but at the same time I do have a channel. I have built a little bit of a following, and sometimes people want to see you race, not just ride around, So, I'll make a decision on that pretty soon. Most likely, I need to increase my fitness as well. I need to increase the time that I have to put on the bike, because, like I said, running the team, and once the season gets going and we're doing all this traveling and stuff like that, I just don't have a lot of time with work and everything. I don't have a lot of time to get on the bike. So that's part of why I just kind of use these races as my fitness, just kind of getting a little endurance workout in. Because of the nature of this course, though, just fast and flowing, we have a pretty good size field. I think it was just about a little over 60 racers in the field. So, yeah, you got a pretty big draft. Obviously, I'm back here, and we're getting separated out here. Got one of the Endure guys losing the wheel a little bit here. every race starts off kind of hot, and takes people a little bit of time to weather the storm. But this race was honestly, it was incredibly easy as far as like power requirement. I was under 200 watt average for this race, even though I don't get to finish it. Well, I do finish it actually, but I don't get to finish it with the group. Gonna get caught up in a crash later, which obviously you probably can tell by the thumbnail. But yeah, so I just sat in pretty well, saved a lot of energy. Under 200 watt average for the race, and only about 217 normalized or something, which obviously those are low numbers, so you can tell how easy it was to just sit in this race. That's Lance in front of me. Some of the KRT guys, you'll see his teammates over there to the left. Some of them got caught up in the crash as well. Not pointing out the crash and stuff when we get to it. So yeah, and talking about fitness, yeah, I'm a little banged up now. Overall, I'm pretty good. Hit my head pretty hard. Helmet cracked, but helmet did its job. I have no headaches, no neck pain, nothing. All that was, like I said, the helmet did its job and took the brunt of the force there. But I do have a pretty sore back. Like my back is just spasming and hard to walk, hard to move, hard to roll over. But I think all that's muscle also. Just kind of flipped over someone and landed on my back. Hopefully everybody else that got caught in the crash is okay as well. Don't want to beat a dead horse, so I'll speak about it a little bit later. So one thing that's good to see is the Endure team. They got a bunch of guys. They got a bunch of riders, guys and girls. But they got a bunch of guys in this race in pretty much every field, because I think they have some Masters riders as well. You see one of them kind of dive bomb a little bit over there. I mean, he made it through fine, but definitely not recommended. You guys know, if you watch my videos, I kind of preach about that a lot. And, for some reason people, don't learn. I'm not knocking the guy that just went through. Obviously, he made it, and a lot of people think that's fine. Sometimes it is, but overall, when you take that really, really tight line, you really limit your options. Your skill has to be really high to be able to handle it in all situations, not just when we're going slow, but especially in those last few laps when you're doing 30 plus. Yeah, it's just not a recommended line. And overall, it's just not recommended to enter any turns at different angles than the Peloton. And I'm going to talk about that later, obviously, because we have a major incident. But yeah, like right now, if you wanted to go up the inside, you got to stay tight to the Peloton. You got to hug it so we all enter the turn at the same angle. What people do right there is they separate all the way to the curb, and they're kind of going in straight, and it creates like a T-bone angle to the rest of the Peloton. And of course, I know it's sometimes just an experience deal where people will swear on it that, oh, somebody cut me off. They didn't cut you off. You cut yourself off. You put your own and all the rest of us in danger by taking that super tight line separating from the field. Just like here, you see all that room to the left? It's open for a reason. Don't go over there. Don't go over there and hug the curb and shoot in here real tight. You see, I went to the inside, but I'm entering the turn at the same angle as the rest of the group. But yeah, Endure, they have a lot of number. They have big numbers in here, and for me, just like my team, I like for the team to race as a team. We have a lot of other guys and girls that are on teams that they all just race against each other, and that's just something I can't invest my money in. So, if you're on my team, we got to race as a team. If not, why would I pay for you to race if we're not gonna, have a common goal and kind of work together? But the Endure team, I like what they're doing. They're going to, do some team tactics here, and I think they have been for the last couple weeks, jumping in breakaways, trying lead outs, all those kind of things. And, it doesn't always work out. I said that in some of the women's videos that I've done lately is it doesn't matter if you have a team or not. It doesn't matter how well you execute to a degree. Like, nothing's guaranteed. So Chris was just eating a little wind there, and I told him jump in and get behind the guy in black there. That's Chris in front of me. So yeah, he did a great job just kind of slotting in and getting in front there. But I know sometimes he has a little bit of a tendency to to eat a lot of wind, and it just burns energy. It feels good early in the race. You feel comfortable, but 40, 50 minutes later, it brings in a lot of fatigue if you've been eating a lot of wind the entire race. So I think this is a bad habit that I have. Trust me, I'm back here and I'm fine. I'm where I want to be. I really just wanted to sit in and, like I said, warm up, save a lot of energy until late in the race. And then I was just going to read my team. If I still had teammates up there, I'd go and try to race with them. If they were falling off, then I'd probably just cruise in, just, use this as a warm up for the 50 plus later in the day. But it is a little bit of a bad habit. In the 50 plus, we can do this because it's a lot smoother. And other than the last couple of weeks, we typically don't have a lot of crashes. So you can kind of hang out in the back, save some energy, just kind of be quiet, and then move up when you need to. But in these races, it's a bad habit for me. And I think the 3-4 race, there's a lot of strong riders that are Cat 3, that are Cat 4. But overall, when we're in these categories, means we're relatively new to racing. Not 100% of the time, but just as a general theme, it means most people are relatively new to racing. So it's a little bit more dangerous back here if I just hang out here the entire race. You really should be kind of like in the first 20 riders or above. And when you have a large field like this, when you have 60 riders, you want to be in the top third most of the time. Things can still happen up there, but it's just a little bit less likely. It's usually a little bit more single file, a little stretched out, and a little smoother as well. Back here, you have the accordion effect. You have sometimes people with low fitness, sometimes with low bag handling, and it just kind of magnifies everything. But like I said, at the same time, depending on where you position yourself, sometimes it's good to just sit back and save energy and not worry about what's going on, not get caught up in what's up front. And that's just a difference in philosophy. It just depends on how you want to navigate the field. So again, if you notice there, when we're hitting the apex there, everybody's going the same direction. There's no one coming in from a side angle going straight while the Peloton's cutting across them. And again, that is the person that separates fault. That's not the Peloton's fault. They're not chopping your wheel. You're putting your wheel in a position to get chopped. That's one of the first rules of being safe as a cyclist is protect your front wheel. And it's just really a little bit of lack of patience. That's why people float to the inside. We all have that habit, at some point, and it's a little bit of a bad habit, but you'll see people start floating to the inside before the turn gets there, and it's just a lack of patience. You want to hold your line here and then turn a little bit later. So again, large field, so you can see it's really stretched out, and that's just part of the problem of being in the back. Depending on what you want to do, because right now, if something breaks away or whatever, I have no chance to do anything about it. Not saying I'd want to get in that break or anything, but that's just something to think about for people that want to ride the back. Unless you're like just really saving energy, waiting for it to be a bunch sprint at the end, you definitely don't want to be back here. And I end up just hanging back out here all the time. Every race that I'm in, I just gotta create a bad habit for myself. So, I said this before, I don't claim to be any special great racer or anything like that. But, I have had conversations with people, and some people want to see me actually race my bike, and who knows, maybe I will. But like I said, I do have to get more fit and put that time in. Yeah, I don't know why, but I think the numbers were, maybe I'm wrong, but the numbers felt low this weekend. This field is pretty big, but some of the other fields were fairly small. The 50 plus was really small to me. I think it was only 30 riders, and normally we have about 70, 75 riders. And I think the 50 plus was really small this day. I didn't get to race it because I'm on the concrete right about there somewhere. But yeah, a lot of the fields think just had somewhat reduced numbers, and I'm not exactly sure why. The weather was good. Started off really cold this morning. As you can see, it says 52, but it got up to 70. It was pretty warm later in the day. And I think we had a pretty good pace for the most part. Um, I don't know what the exact numbers were. I'm guessing it's probably in the mid 26s. Nothing too fast. Like I said, it was a fairly easy race, so it wasn't too fast, but I think it was fairly consistent. Just just decent flowing speed. Which again, this course lends itself to that, like a very flowing course, and because majority of it's so fast, like downhill. So this is pretty much like the only real uphill. And then for the most part, the rest of the course is slightly downhill, kind of like a false flat, but downhill. Um, it makes it hard to get away because the speed's so high. It's so easy for people to carry high speed. So you're not going to see too many breakaways in a field like this. I mean, I'm sorry, on a course like this. You'd have to really be able to run interference or just have someone that's way stronger than the rest of the field. As you can see, we're packed in pretty tight here. So I knew I was sitting back a little bit too far, and it's really easy to move up on this little stretch without using too much energy. Like I said, we have a tailwind. So I decided to move up just a little bit here. Probably moved up a good 15 spots, maybe even 20 spots, but still really near the back, with the field this big. I think I was thinking about it here, shooting up a little bit further, but honestly, like, there's no reason to. Um, I'm not going to do anything at the front. I'm not trying to do anything. So I hate to pick on you, my friend, but the same indoor rider, if you notice there, like how he passed to the inside, that's what I'm kind of talking about. It's okay to pass to the inside, but he should have been way closer to me so everybody enters the corner at the same angle. Since he's separated from the Peloton and then runs along the curb, you end up entering the corner at a different angle. He didn't cause any incidents or anything. Like I said, I don't want to pick on him. I'm just showing what the tendency is for people that get in trouble with the dive bomb line later. When the race gets faster, it happens. It always happens at a high speed, obviously, because then once you're going at a high speed and you have a tendency to take that type of line, then you're not able to hug it as tight as you need to when other people are coming across hitting an apex there. So yeah, my man, like I said, it's nothing personal. I'm just kind of using it as an illustration here on the video. And it turns out that you're lending yourself to the illustration. So yeah, unfortunately for myself, I'm definitely a much better teacher, much better coach and manager than I am a writer. Um, like I said, I just don't care about it as much anymore. I don't care about myself because I'm trying to build something, and I really just care about my team and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, if anybody wants, I can give full Apex lessons, break it down, how many varying Apexes there are, all that kind of stuff. No cost to anybody. Just let me know, and I'll be happy to. I always have a whiteboard with me. Do it for my team. I do it for other people. But I always have a whiteboard with me, and we can go over all of it. I can explain everything that I'm talking about. It doesn't mean that I think I'm great or anything, so please don't think that. It's just, hey, if you need some help, obviously, like I said, if you're in one of these fields, a lot of people, I know even Cat 1 riders that don't know really like what an apex is and how many different apexes there are and why you take certain apexes. When do you take a certain type of apex? Most people think the apex is one thing. So yeah, if anybody's interested, just let me know, and I'll set up a whiteboard session. We could do it at the races, or I can come out and do it for your team. It doesn't matter. It's just my 2 cents. So yeah, anytime we're in the mid 20s or higher, usually the pace, it's not the pace, but the effort is usually decent up front. As you can see, I'm doing mid 300s, a little under 400 sometime. And that's all it is, just because the hill goes up. When you're in the mid to high 20s, we're putting in a little bit harder effort to get up there. There's a lot of preems and stuff too. I can't hear when I'm doing the voiceover, so I don't know when there's a preem or not. But yeah, there's a lot of preems, and then there's of course bar points and all that as well. So that's usually when the surges happen. I think no one was really trying to get away on this race. We had like one breakaway, I think, attempt, but other than that, it was just together the entire race. So I think my man right there had dropped his chain and was coming backwards in the middle there. So again, if you look at what I'm talking about, like you see the Pelotons all together, and if you see people start to separate, that's when, like I said, that's when you're coming in at a different angle. But if you all stay together, stay close, turn at the same time, typically the inside person's going to turn first. If they're in front of you, they should be slightly in front of you if you're taking that inside tight line. When you're kind of behind, that creates a little bit of an issue too, because then the person to your outside can't see your wheel, and they'll start to they'll pick out an apex to hit, and once they're on that line, they're on that line. That's just what it is. So you either have to speed up or slow down at that point. See my man Dennis from UCSD to my right in there. I don't know how Dennis did in this race. I kind of followed him up for a second. I think I'm near the last couple laps, but then I was seeing stars a little bit after that, so I wasn't able to ride out to the finish. But Dennis is really fishing also. Sometimes I think him and I ride sometimes very similar. Just kind of chill, be quiet, save a lot of energy. Dennis is a much better finisher, though. Like I said, I don't even try to finish races that much. Sooner or later, I guess I will. Or not. See the body language a little excited here. Might be another preem lap. Yeah, this is one I think for CBR, I think this is actually my favorite direction out here. Out of all, the 4 courses. It's really 2 courses, but 4 directions, or 2 different directions on each side. But I think this is my favorite. Like I said, I'd much rather have one small hill and 3/4 of the lap being downhill than running it the reverse way. It doesn't really matter, though. It's not a big deal. That's another thing, too. Just talking to people before the race, and people are talking about left-hand turns and right-hand turns. And, again, I hate to say it, but if you're concerned about if the course is right-hand or left-hand, that really means work on your bike handling, work on your own skills, because you should never be concerned if a course is right-handed or left-handed. It's just a turn. It makes no difference, really. And it's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I want to increase my bike handling, or you want to get comfortable on a bike to where whatever the course throws at you, you're able to handle it, psychologically, because that's really all it is psychologically. But there was a lot of people saying, oh, yeah, I don't like the right hands. I don't like the left-hand turns. And I hate to say it, that for the most part, that means you're not comfortable handling your bike. And you really just got to, if you're not comfortable, it's fine, no matter how fast you are. Unfortunately, cycling's a sport where everyone just says, oh, someone's knowledgeable or smart or whatever because they're fast. It's two different things. People that are fit are going to be fast, period. Doesn't mean they know anything. Doesn't mean they handle their bike. Doesn't mean they're safe. Doesn't even mean they're a good racer or a bad racer or whatever. It simply means they're strong. But yeah, especially in California, we have almost zero technical crits. Everything's just four corner. Nothing's typically, sharper than 90 degrees. You should never be concerned with if it's left-handed or right-handed. Clockwise, counterclockwise, it doesn't make a difference. Or it shouldn't make a difference to, how comfortable you are riding on the course. So yeah, we got the speed up a little bit here. Like I said, I don't know if it's a preem. We're coming into about 10 laps to go now. Might be short, a little bit less. Most of these laps have been like over 2 minutes. I think another thing that people need to worry about, or not worry about, but to figure out, is risk versus reward. Like, what is this situation worth? It does, and it doesn't matter. It's every situation. You got to think about it quickly. It's, it doesn't take much brain power or anything. But, let's say if I wanted to shoot up in between Josh and the PRT rider, how tight is that? Is it worth it for me to shoot up there? Like, what am I gaining for it? Am I gaining one position and I'm back here in 40th? Then there's no reward there. And unfortunately, you see a lot of people making those decisions when there's like zero reward. All you're doing is gaining like one spot. But they will risk like, crashing or going into a really tight spot for no reason. And it's kind of a series of decisions like that throughout the race. The better you become, the more experienced you are, the better bike handler you are, those decisions become easier and easier. But it's just something to think about. And it should be always calculated. It shouldn't take time. Like I said, it should only be like a passing thought, if not just natural to you. But there's always a little bit of risk versus reward. And anytime there's a crash, usually someone got that wrong. Someone got that risk versus reward part wrong usually. And I say that only because these crashes are typically not at the pointy end of the race. So if you're not at the pointy end of the race, that risk versus reward is definitely not in balance. As you can see again, guys over there almost scraping the curb and coming in at a little bit different angle over there. And that's a common theme. And it's the same thing there. Like, what was the risk there? And then what was your potential reward? Again, if you're back here in 40th spot, there's not much reward to risking your bike back here. So then you can see the Endure guys are starting to line up. Like I said, I love to see it. I don't care if it's successful or not. I don't care if you win the race or not. But I love to see guys and gals, just any riders, willing to sacrifice for each other. You see there's 5 of them up there starting to line up. So obviously all 5 of them aren't going to take the first 5 positions. So someone's sacrificing for someone else. And if you are on a team, that's what you need to do. I think it makes racing safer at least. I think it also brings some purpose to people that are not finishing in the top 10 or whatever. If you do your job and know you worked for a teammate and you come in 15th, 18th, 30th, that brings a little bit of purpose to you. And as you can see, all the different lines and people drifting, like I said, you can tell people are not comfortable handling their bike. And again, I don't claim to be like the greatest bike rider or anything like that. I'm just the guy with the camera and the guy with the platform, so I'm critiquing it. I'm sure some people will be offended over it, but all you have to do is watch the film. You can see how unstable people are, how people are making a ton of micro adjustments in the turn, when typically you want to make one steering input per turn, per corner. This is why you turn a little bit late. You don't turn early, and then say, oh, shoot, and adjust. You turn as late as possible, find your exit, one input, carry that speed or start pedaling, whatever, to carry the speed through the exit of the turn, through the apex, through the exit. Depends on if you're hitting what type of apex, but yeah, so yeah, going 30 miles per hour on this big road through a turn should not be an issue for any of us. But yeah, we're definitely down to only 2 laps to go now. And you see the Endure guys just turned the corner. They're putting out, got their lead out going. This might be going into the last lap here. I'll try to see if we have 1 lap to go or 2 laps to go. Like always, I couldn't see, but it looked like a 2. Yeah, definitely 2 laps to go right now. Got the speed up. It was first time we're above 32. Again, it should be a smooth turn here. 1 steering input. You see we're using more of the road now, running it out to the cones. Like I said, there's Dennis, there's Josh, and usually this is about the time that I just started saying, okay, let me cruise it in. I'm way back here. I'm not going to make up too many spots. But unfortunately, or fortunately, it doesn't really matter. I mean, honestly, it's just racing. Hitting the ground is just racing, unfortunately. It just sucks when it happens, you know. You know it's going to happen again eventually, but it sucks when it happens. So here I was going to work for Josh, which is to my left there. I was trying to get up to just communicate with him, but unfortunately I followed Dennis here. Didn't get to communicate to Josh yet. But since I saw him still up here, I thought, okay, yeah, maybe we'll have a chance to do a little something. So we're going to be going into the last lap. I can tell that the Endure guys are starting to fade just a little bit. I think you have a couple KRT riders up there as well. I definitely need to be a little further up to be safer. Again, back here, last lap to go. We're not too far back, but because it's bunched up right now. But definitely need to be up another like good 15 spots probably. You see where Josh is shooting up on the left side there. It would have been better for me to go to one of the sides and not get boxed in here. And the inside is really the side of choice for me, or the preferred side. And for me, I think that's definitely one of my mistakes here. I preach it to my team too. We do not want to be on the outside late in the race. Almost all incidents get pushed to the outside, and this one is no different. So yeah, going into the last lap here, if you look way over to the left, you'll see one of the major motion guys. He's going to be pretty far inside, but someone's going to shoot underneath him and just ram him into everybody to my left here. Right there. Yep, couldn't avoid it. Tried. But yeah, let's look at this in slow-mo. Yeah, so if you see the major motion rider over there in the black and red, and you can see someone shoots underneath him right at the apex of the turn. Again, classic dive bomb by whoever that guy is. He hits the major motion rider and just slams him into everybody else. I get bumped from the side, and I save that part. But yeah, I just, this rider slides right in front of me, and I could not avoid hitting him and flipping over the top there. So yeah, it kind of sucks. I have it from different angles because Nick, my teammate and photographer, he was out there right in front of me, and he's going to actually help me pick up the bike. But if you see, I think it's the guy in the blue down there that's on the ground. I think he was the one that shot underneath. I know it was a pretty light colored jersey. If it wasn't you, my apologies. I'm just trying to call out what I see. But yeah, left a mass destruction here in his wake. And that's really, again, risk versus reward. We're in about 30th position there. I don't know what we're going to gain from doing that. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hate to beat a dead horse. It hurts when you crash, but it is just part of racing, and no hard feelings to anyone. So see you next time.